Johnny B.
It's your boy Shawnee B, and I think there's only one way that I can start this link up because I heard it last week. And yo, let me tell you something. When you get an intro like that, you get a goddamn intro. Remington Salaam, ring the alarm. Salaam, Remi, online. Whereabouts in the world are you, Salaam?
I'm home. I'm home at home base in Miami. Still doing the somewhat quarantine thing, staying out of the way, but I'm on the home base.
How did you feel when you heard the great Dan Dada Supercat gear intro like that? I would have lost my mind, fam.
Yeah, I mean, I was excited, but actually, he'd done some special for when I did Red Bull Culture Clash last year. So that's when he started the Remington Salaam talk. And it kind of played, but nobody really picked it up the same way. But of course, with a tune, they get a chance to pull it up and I can mix it again. Pull it up and take on my new moniker.
So we're talking about that brand new sitting that's out on road from Remington Salaam, as the cat would say, Supercat dropped fresh in my box. What's the actual name of the song? Because is it
Push Time?
Push Time.
Yeah.
The world got excited. Do you understand why the world got excited, Salaam?
I was hoping they were getting excited because I was excited with the idea. So it was the reaction from everyone else. It's kind of like when you build something and you're cooking and then you can't wait to let it loose. And then you finally let it loose and then get the reaction. Then you be like, okay, all of the time that you spent working on it was worth it. So it's a refreshing feeling. It's one I've felt before when I do songs, because sometimes you don't know if your idea is going to work. And, sometimes my ideas have left of center. And I don't think anyone was expecting, I don't think anyone was expecting this at this moment. But in my mind, I was like, this is the perfect time,
Now, when you talk about when you do songs, your discography is long, fam. It's massively long. Like, I actually just went back online just to kind of look at certain things. And when you've got your name to records like Ani Kamozi's Hot Stepper, when you got your name to projects with Shabba Ranks, Patra, Fuji La, like Born Americans, like music like that was like, that was genre changing music in the 90s. Whitney Houston, My Love Is Your Love.
I did the remixes for it. Wyclef produced it.
Yeah. Like, and obviously, like, your name is super attached to Nas and Amy Winehouse. And I think that's probably where you get the most accolades for your production work from.
For now, it's always been a thing. There's been a level where, there's hits and then there's tune, right? So
I like the way you said that. Tune, like a true reggae man.
And tune is different. So for me, I came up from, different levels of it. My dad was a producer. He was in the mix. He was doing stuff. He had tune that he arranged and produced. He had different things on that level. But then when I first, when I got out of high school and I started working, I was around, my dad was managing Chuck Chill Out and Funk Master Flex. And then I was around BLS with Bobby Condas. So I was in the DJ booth with the DJs all the time. I was in the radio station while they were playing. I was with them all week while they picking up records and looking. Meanwhile, I'm honing my production skills. So I understand the level of when I give something to a selector, to a DJ, and they can play it and they get the crowd reaction, because I know what that feeling is from standing in the DJ booth and you don't know if the song you about to play is it, but when you play it, you get that feeling back from the crowd, and then everybody pull up. So that's how I make music. And, there's been songs that were smaller hits that led up to things, but still my whole thing was it didn't work unless it connect with the audience at hand. And that's really what was ended up happening. Like, things have always, from the beginning of my career, from 1990, probably I started making tune that actually connect in the New York area or the New York tri-state area. And then it just kind of kept spreading, 91, 92. Then it turned national. And then, Aini Kamosi and Fuji's turned international. And then other levels. But at the end of the day, it was still tunes that were made for New York. And New York is a cosmopolitan city like London, like Paris, like Milan. You know what I'm saying? When something busts in New York, we have enough mixtures of cultures and people that we kind of set a tone.
What one tune would you say changed your life at a young age? What one significant record? Guys, you see I got my vinyls then behind me. I can see you got your vinyls and is
Yeah,
that
yeah.
cassette tapes and everything that I can see at the back as
Oh, yeah,
well?
that's my whole life. My GLI mixer from when I was a youth, my cassette tapes, Scratch Perry, my dub sign. This is my dub room where I
Right.
sit down and just vibe out. And it's almost like it reminds me of my thing coming up. One tune that changed my life. Well, I can't say one changed my life, but I said the sequence. The sequences were I always give it to Get a Red Hot remix that I did with Bobby Condas as the longest playing song that I've ever done. Like it's the one that you play now, and I still feel the intensity we felt in D&D Studios the night when we make it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that. And then I go to Aini Kamosi, Here Comes a Hot Step of being international. But that still was the result of he and I from 92, 93, 91 cutting demos that ended up getting remixed in 94 to be a big hit in 95. Fuji's, Fuji La is the big one, but still it was Mona Lisa, the Nappy Heads, and then it was Vocab remix, and then Fuji La was born of it. Right. So it's always like the couple of things that happened before it. So those things were definitely big.
But
and,
when I say what tune, I'm chatting about a tune that you didn't even produce. I'm chatting about as a youth listening.
Ooh. That's a hard one. Tune to change my life as far as looking back.
Or made you think this is what I want to do, I want to produce, even though you had your dad there, but...
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, it's funny, like the reality is I was born in a musical space where my dad and my mother's brother were in a band, and that's how my parents met. Mm-hmm. So I saw so many things coming up that I just absorbed, like, oh, that's what's happening? Interesting, you know what I mean? So that's hard for me to really put a thumb on right now. In my mind, I want to think that Sucker MCs by Run DMC impacted me in a certain way, as a certain level of tune. And then my dad was reminding me yesterday, like, yo, remember you used to go to the record stores with me when I was doing promotion? And I would go to the store in Flatbush called J&M. And in there, it was John and Marvel. It was a Jamaican-owned record shop, but I would want the Sugar Hill record and I want the Yellow Man record. You know what I mean? Like I would look in there and I could spot a Sugar Hill record because of the cover, but I want Zunga Zang and I want I'm Getting Married in the Morning, but I also want Rapper's Delight and I want anything that's coming on that level too. So that's hard. I can't even put a finger on that one right now because I still feel like every day I'm looking for a tune to change my life again. If you added one more song into the box, it got to be something good, or I got enough tune already. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
I hear that. Like
if you added more vinyl to the yard, it better be something special because somebody go cuss you. Well, where you going more? You know what I'm saying? You might just doing it for no reason. There has to be something special. It has to be a moment. It has to feel like, woo. You know, that's a hard question. I don't even know if I can answer a tune.
Now, we've been talking a lot about your dad, and your dad's is Van Gibbs, yeah? And
right.
Tell us a little bit of history about your dad, because the way we're talking about him is like people are sitting at home like, and tell me, because he's a legendary name in the game. Like from you being rolling around from the night, you would know that name, Van Gibbs.
Right. So my dad basically came up from Trinidad. He was born and raised in Remi, Trinidad. He came up from Trinidad, I think, late 60s, 68 or so. And he was a musician. So in his musician things, he went and was in different bands. And then eventually he became was on the road with, plays, famous black plays, Your Arms Too Short to Box with God, Don't Bother Me, I Can't Cope, all that stuff. And then he started producing records, also that stuff. So he ended up producing, I guess most notably, arranging the Tana Gardner album that led up to the hit Heartbeat, which is what I sampled for Annie Kamosi. Here Comes a Hot Stepper. Wow. But he did that stuff. And then he also was like, boy, I ain't learning the business right. So then he went and started interning at Arista Records as a street team person, as a big man, but did it at the same time so he could see the business from the floor up. So he ended up becoming a Northeast regional promotion person. So him and legendary Frankie Crocker he was the guy that Frankie Crocker would be like, hey, man, tell me what's going on the street. And then he would kind of par with him on that level. So he did those things. And then, he ended up doing A&R, having production deals, managing. But he did 360 in the business, from musician all the way to top of label execs and back and forth. And then still managing, key DJs and artists and helping with many things. And that's what allowed me to have an insight of what was going on in the business. And even though I wasn't, looking to necessarily be that part of it. His guidance was able to show me. He made the mistakes in the 80s that I wouldn't make in the 90s, basically. That's really what it came down to. And I was able to get through. But, he's respected by many people. And then even up until, the recent couple of years, he was like, hey, I'm going to go to Barbados. When I moved to Miami from New York, he's like, I'm going to go chill out in Barbados. Next thing you know, he's managing Rupi, Allison Hines, helping out with Marshall. Like, he just continued to, in his leisure, still having advice that was sage for many people to be able to kind of push through. And, over the years, a lot of the Caribbean music that was coming through, to the US, the key was that I was able to remix a lot of it, raw how it was from the Caribbean, and give it something that would make it good for American radio. And then he also was a promotion person that understood the culture, but also understood the radio. So he was able to kind of set up a street team. You know what I'm saying? If you ask Steve Rifkin and those people, they would say, well, Van Gibb showed me how to do street team.
He's like the original plug for Caribbean music, full stop, hands down.
Pretty much.
You don't need to say it. I can say it. Your dad is the plug for Caribbean music. Now, where I really, really kind of got interested in Salaam, Remi, would be, like, I would say around 1996. Tony Braxton, Making Me High. Like, everything else is cool, but that Making Me High remix, 1996, Tony Braxton, Mad Cobra, the metric rhythm. That for me is what really was like, when you chat about tune, that was the tune right there.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that was a moment for me, and what I was able to do, because, see, the thing is how it really came into play for me working on the Caribbean records. I was around WBLS all the time. Bobby Condas is working at the station. From Master Flex and Chuck Chillout on the station. Fred Bugs, the public program director. I'm in the back all the time, going through the records, looking for break beats. I'm like, dang, I can't find it. I wonder if BLS got it. So I'm going through Hal Jackson's oldies and I'm plucking records like, ooh. Then when I touch the turntable, a hot drum beat come on. So Bobby Condas look at me like, yo, I'm going to studio later. You want to bring some of them break beats and maybe put some stuff underneath some songs? So that's how we ended up doing certain things and levels. And, then Vivian Scott, who was signed Shaba and Patra, was like, yo, come do some stuff, with me directly because, she gave my first remix in 1989. So it was all like a community thing where everybody did that. The specialists the same way, be like, yo, Patra need to do a song. I want you to build a track and put it to you. So I was always in the mix. But when it came down to it, I was still hip hop and R&B producer, and when the Tony Braxton mix came up, they didn't ask for a reggae mix. They asked me to do a hip hop mix. I did the hip hop mix and I did a ballad mix. And then I was working on Cobra's Milkman album at the time. So I was like, but guess what? They getting a dancehall mix. Because what we going to do? Wait for Chevelle Franklin for Sing It Over? Or else to sing it over? I was like, oh, Tony Braxton's here. Guess what? I'm going to build a rhythm around Tony Braxton's vocal. Cool. And then I looked at Josh Snow all the time. I was like, Corn, what was the name of the rhythm? He said, metric. All right, done. Nobody looked for me. That's it? I was like, yeah, that's it. So we just made the metric rhythm. Cabra was there. So he recorded his Planted song. And then I was like, yo, Cabra, you're getting 8 bars in hand. It was good for them because he'd already had Flex. He was still a known star in America for the reggae side of it. Mm-hmm. So when, you make it high, like the vibe was just right. That, okay, cool. I donated a dance hall mix to Tony Braxton, but still it ended up staying up. And then, at the same time, we just put through the rest of the rhythm and put some more song and kept it bouncing. But it was a big thing, like, down to my selectors, yo, we gotta leave instrumental at the beginning. Now I'm like, you need an intro from the start. I was like, nah, let it rock. It was things that I had to do to step outside of the normal box in order to get things to happen. But it was a blessing, using remixes to get more names on my discography was something I learned early. I got a hot beat, cool. But if I get such and such vocal on it, the beat just got hotter.
Can I do this right now? I'm doing this right now. Hands up. In 1996, that little, 16, but it wasn't even 16 bars. I'm sure it was 32 bars of instrumental drums. I nicked that, put it over the top of Case and Foxy Brown, the intro of Case and Foxy Brown, Touch Me, Tease Me with the instrumentation. Bro, I bootlegged that record. I can't even lie to you. I have to be real with you. That kind of birthed me into what I am doing right now. That was the first record that I stuck out there as a young producer. You get what I'm saying? And it was that loop that I took and stuck over the top of Case of Foxy Brown with a boom, bing, boom, 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 boom. That did nuts in the UK, my brother. So hands up, I apologize. I gotta say thank you to you though, sir.
I mean, you know what? The biggest thing, my dad also got me on something early, which is working on things that last beyond your existence, and that's something that I'm a big part of. And everything that I'm doing right now at this particular point in my career is not monetarily motivation. There's no money motivation. This is all for, can I do something that's going to spark somebody else to do something that's going to spark somebody else to do something? So by you saying that and where you are now and all the fact that we can be here talking about it, great for me, because that's the thing that happens. That's the thing that happens. You make music and it touches people who might not even speak the same languages as you and might inspire a whole forest to be grown in a whole nother place that you don't even know about. And that's the beauty of it. That's what the music has given to me, has been a lot of seeds planted that have grown into other things. And it's the same thing that continues. Like, we have moments now where we can say, yo, you didn't even know it, but I nicked a piece of your thing and it gave me a good. I'm glad. You know what I'm saying?
I got a forest. I got a jungle going on. I have to say thank you. I was just having a conversation. And I'm like, rah, you know what? I have to say thank you to Salaam straight up and down, because that was the birth of how people knew of me as Shawnee B, the remix kid. You get what I'm saying? So once again, thank you. Now, let's bring it up to date with Supercat. Now, you're talking about the Red Bull Culture Clash and you guys doing it for the culture, and you won that, and congratulations. And you did definitely do it for the culture. You rep the dancer for the sound that people love, that as like Bunty and them would say, that boop boop sound. Like, that's what you lot brought to the stage. But did you have a history with Supercat before that time?
Oh, yeah. So I had mixed, back in the early 90s, Bobby Condas had got the job to remix Dundada. So I'd done Dundada remix with him. I wasn't credited all the way, but I'd done that with him. And then when Ghetto Red Hot came back around, I was credited that me and him did the Ghetto Red Hot hip hop mix. So I'd done those things early out. And then Cat was somebody that I would see from time to time, because my dad, running part of the radio stuff, he would come by the studio with Robert Livingston or whatever would happen. And then I would see him and he'd always reason with me. Like, I was, 19, 20. Yeah, I was 20 years old, 92. So 2021, but he'd always be like, what happened to you, yo? And then he just come and reason with me. And I had a thing where certain people would always reason with me. Even when I was, from a little boy, I was like that. That big man would just come and talk to me. Big man don't necessarily talk to everybody, And then when he had needed some remixes for The Good, the Bad, and Ugly, I worked on a couple of things. And I think what made it to the album was the South Central mix, but I'd done a couple of different ones. And he was reasoning with me about how he wanted and move around. But it was a creative thing that actually ended up working. And then even after he had done like Neptunes, he would pop up in my studio once in a while in the city. I was in the middle of Manhattan. So it was just like, yo, who's at the door? He said, Cat is at the door, right? All right, cool. Well, but it was a thing where it was just like a rarity. People don't see Cat to even chat to him or can chat to him a certain way, but he would always come and look for me and give me a certain talk. So even when I went to do the Red Bull Culture Clash, my concept was that everyone was looking for me to fly in Buster, fly in Nas, this and that. And they had me as the hip hop team. But I'm like, hip hop team? How they can look at me as hip hop team? Yeah, just let me do it. But I'm like, if I was coming to the London, we ain't talk about, I'd be like, yo, Miss Dynamite, we need Romeo done. Yo, I'm going to get Mystique back together. I'm going to, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to do what I need to do for the area. But I'm like, I'm not going down to Jamaica and not going down with the people. So my team was Jack Scorpio, Spraga, Snowcomb, Bambino, Disco Neil, you know what I'm saying? And all of them had keys to my house at some point. There's this family. I didn't bring in no hired gun. You know what I'm saying? I'm friends with Twitch or whatever other selectors and nothing. But these were my core people. People might say friend and friend, break off half of the party and share it. Right. Friends, you know what I'm saying? And Scorpio's an elder, friend like that with my father. So I looked at it like, I'm going into Jamaica. I'm going to go in for the people. So one Sunday, I realized it came to fruition. I was like, yo, call them on them. We're here. And I look around on a Sunday afternoon, and in Scorpio's yard is Beanie Man, which I didn't even realize he was on another team, but Beanie Man, Future Trouble, They give me the Red Bull song. Perfect. I'm going to play that early. Done them. Then I had Frisco Kid. Spragga call up and get Terrell. Terrell, you know what I'm saying? Enough people don't check for Terrell and go look for him even more time, but Spragga would. Spragga come and bring Terrell. So I'm like, boom, Terrell there. I'd already spoke to Buck in there. I'd voiced Red Rat, and then Red Rat put me on face. I'm like, yo, Buck. Buck ain't moving. Buck ain't go outside in Jamaica for years. But it was a thing where I pulled everybody into the studio. Ghost. It was like 20 top 90s artists in the studio on a Sunday. Left them Sunday dinner to come and reason with me. Yo, so what you want to do? But I was like, all right, cool. This is what I want. This is how I want to present myself. Because Do It For The Culture was something I was doing bigger than that. You know, my original Do It For The Culture had Mira May, Miguel, everybody on it when I first had put it out. That was the original Do It For The Culture 50 songs I put out in 2016. So now in Terry Walker, all those was people that I was doing stuff with.
Big up my sister, Terry. I forgot up Terry.
Every time. So we have an album called Champagne Flutes too. But anyhow, when I went into Jamaica, I was like, nah, I'm going to pull back the community. Call Nadine Sutherland, Salaam, anything you need. Because I work with these people, and my thing is, you know, live good. If Red Bull give me money, what I'm going to do? Give an artist that don't need the money to fly in and style on people? No, I'm going to come back and give it back to the community, to the man them where people not even paying attention to the point where people backstage like, so who are you going to bring out? Who you going to bring out? Because they're looking for artists. And yeah, I could have gone to another level, but I was like, you know, going to another level as far as who I bring out on stage. But I was like, nah, I'm going to style on them. Bring out the people that's here that they ain't paying attention to. And share the food that way. Scorpio's birthday, cool. You're going to win a clash on your birthday, and don't worry about that. The mass camp this year, Dada. We're going to the arena. You know what I'm saying? And that was the most beautiful part. So when I went and looked for Supercat, and I went and looked for Shabba, the conversation that Shabba and Cat and myself had, it was more of a reasoning. We did some tune, but it was still like a reasoning, like, boy, you from long time, and it wasn't a now thing. It was a back then thing, because it's, once again, this is almost 30 years at that point that we've been, you know, working on different sets of things. So I was really proud of that effort, and getting Cat to even voice the specials was special, because he don't even do it. He don't care.
You don't matter for pay big money for that dub plate.
Exactly. And then it's beyond the money. It's if he want to do it, and if he even rate you enough to even take the conversation. True. That's the other side of it. You know what I'm saying? You can't, you know, he's a man of integrity and principle more than anything else. So you ain't this money. You is who again? Now
in 2012, you brought that Supercatness to one of your longtime collaborative partners, Nas, with Nas the Don. Nas the Don. What does Nas know about Supercat like that?
Well, you know, funny enough, they used to be on tour together. So they were both on Columbia Records. You know, when 92, 93, 94, they were all together. So they used to do promo tours together. Supercat, Nas, Mad Cobra, enough different artists. But Cat and Nas know each other from then well. You know what I'm saying? All the time. Hennessy and some weed was regular Nas and Cat promotion, you know what I'm saying, moving around the place. So that was that. So what ended up happening, another story there, is that 2011, July, Nas and I had just put out a tune called Nasty. And that was the first song that he kind of put out off the Life Is Good album. And Heavy D calls me. So Heavy D was like, yo, I just got to ask you, how you still get this music to sound as aggressive and urgent as it was in the 80s and the 90s? Like, I be doing it, but it just don't sound like, like, how do you do that? And I was like, yo, I just keep trying to make it so it fits on, like, sound like I taped it off the radio. That's my whole thing. If it sound like I taped it off the radio, it's ready. Until then, it ain't ready. He's like, boy, he's like, yo, I got this Supercat tune. I feel like if you could find a way to flip this rhythm or get to it, yo, it could be big. So I was like, really? I was like, all right, cool, send it to me. So it was Dance in New York. He sent it to my box. So I'm listening to it on the email. And then Nas called me. I'm like, yo, Nas, the Bun Diddly D Heavy called me. He's like, yeah? He's like, yo, he liked the new tune. He couldn't believe it. He's like, yeah? He's like, who's that playing in the background? Supercat? I was like, yeah. He's like, why it sound like he said my name? I say, oh, I think I hear that. Nas heard it over the phone, said it sounded like Supercat said his name. And that's what it was. So then now I get back to the studio months later, and I'm messing with the track. I actually made a call down to Jot Thomas, big up Jot Thomas. I realized Jot Thomas produced it. John Thomas go and bake off the tape, run it off in the Pro Tools for me. Bambina go and put together a session, mix and lab. We get the tape. I get the multi-track for Dance in New York of the big story, right?
You're killing me. You're killing me. You're killing me here.
So now John Thomas, get me the multi-track to Dance in New York. Boom. I got it on the 8-track in front of me now, right? So I'm sitting there and I'm saying, all right, cool. Yo, I'm messing with it and I'm chopping it up. And then somehow I got to the part and I started chopping it and I heard him say, Nazadan, Nazadan. And I'm like, ooh, wait a minute. This is what Nas must have heard, but I didn't even hear how Nas heard it. Because he's saying dance to dance. But it sounded like he's saying Nas to down when you chop it. So then I call Heavy, like, you're Heavy. I know you want me to link up this thing, but I hooked it up and it's saying Nas the Don and then dance in New York City. He's like, yo, if it could work for Nas, even better. Like, yo, that's dope. Like, yo, go ahead and do it. You know what I'm saying? I was like, I got the rhythm too, so we can still do something. Cool. So now, between them times there, Amy Winehouse passed away that same July. And now I'm in London working on the Lioness album. Heavy comes to town. He asked me to call people, set him up some meetings. So he went and met with Darkus. He went and met with Amber. He went and met enough of my people. And cool. He's flying back to LA. He passed away. God bless. So now there comes the line. Heavy D gave this beat to Salaam for me to rap to, because that's what a part of what it was. But it was all still back to Supercat and the energy of what that meant to all of us. You know, Cat was Heavy D's creative partner. It was Nas's promotion partner. You know, that was still original Columbia Records Flex. It was one of my best records that I'd ever worked on, partner. And then I'm trying to reach out to Cat. The Cat like, whatever, leave me alone. You know what I'm saying? And it was that energy, but it was a great time because it was a homage. But it's also, you know, it's once again, when you're dealing with things, to me, culture is a root which goes under the ground. It's not seasonal. So when you dig up a root, it's a yam, it's a potato, it's a piece of ginger, it's some garlic, it's something that has some potency. It's an onion, you know what I'm saying? So when I look at it like that, the culture that I'm bringing up with these pieces of music, you know, you can't brown stew salmon. It's going to fall apart. You have to have something that's strong enough to, and that's the music I want to make. I want to make the music that's thick and brown like oxtail gravy, something that really just hits you in your heart and make you feel like, yes, this is what I've been made. Fill your belly, but it also fill your spirit.
And that's what you did with Amy. And as you tell that story, I was on air at the time when Amy Winehouse passed away. And they have something in the BBC called Obit Training. And it's literally like as if the Queen was to die. The whole place shuts down. You go into somber music. You have to link up with the news and all the rest of it. That's what happened on that day. I would never forget it. I was downstairs in the Radio 1 studios and somebody came in and said, Shawnee, Amy's just passed away. What was your relationship like with Amy?
Amy was my little sister, more than anything else. It's like, you know, when Amy, she really came and looked for me. So the lineage is that, of course, I worked with Lauryn Hill from when she was 18, when I did the Fuji stuff. I worked with Miss Dynamite when she was 18. And Miss Dynamite's first album, A Little Deeper, Dynamite, all that stuff, was still a part of my growth as a producer. I first moved to Miami. We got a lot of work done. It was there. So Amy, I met just after that, but she was listening to all those different things I'd done, but she also heard a song I did for Left Eye Lopez from TLC called Block Party. So she went to EMI Music Publishing looking for the person who produced the song, ended up getting signed. And then they sent her back to me. But I was just in a moment where, you know, my mom had passed. I just moved to Miami. I was like, you know what, if it's not good people, good music, good money, don't call me. I'm out of it. But if it's good people, good music, don't worry about the money. And he's like, just meet her. And she walked in and she gave me a spark at a time when I was probably at my lowest. And the things that she wanted to do actually made me re-interested in making music again in a different way. She made me play the upright bass because I had to keep up. She made me do different things that I didn't anticipate doing and opened up a part of my creativity that was necessary. But then also she was young and I would introduce her to a song and she could spit it back out like she was an 80-year-old, but she was 18. So it was almost like somebody got a brand new plant. You got a brand new person, you know what I'm saying, to spark something. But also, like I said, it was mutual because I was sparking things in her that she didn't know she could do. And the same, I was inspiring her, she was inspiring me. And that was really our overall link from the beginning. You know, the Frank album is what it was. We won an Ivan Fellow. We did different things. We were really creative in me making a hip hop and jazz album, and not necessarily a neo soul album, but hip hop and jazz directly, and really trying to blend that. And then even when we started Back to Black, a lot of the songs I had on Back to Black were already done. And then we remixed them and, you know, got her open to the point to get her ideas across and helped her open up that side of it. So our relationship was just that call, but also Amy called me 2 or 3 in the morning, whatever different time, like, yo, what's up? Just on some, what you doing? Like my Skype would ring anytime, you know what I'm saying? And that was just like, we were really tight. And I'd actually come to London that week to meet her so that we could go to Nick Shymansky's wedding, which was going to be at Lucian's house. So I got there the Thursday and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go meet her on Saturday and sit with her all day. So when we get to the thing on Sunday, we're nice. And unfortunately, she passed the Friday night before I could get to see her, which hit me again, you know, but I met her after my 30th birthday. She passed before my 40th. And it was a situation where what she's done will continue to inspire people way beyond her passing, just like she was inspired by artists who passed away before she was ever born.
I can feel the emotion when you talk about it. Like my body right now is running in chills. And when I think about it, Nas and Amy share the same birthday on the 14th of September. Your life seems to be a life of the universe speaking to you in odd ways, bruv.
Definitely. Even, you know, Kevin Little also, who I worked on during that time, was also born September 14th.
Wow.
So at that time, I was doing Nas's Godson, Kevin Little's Turn Me On, and Amy's Frank album, and they were all had the same birthday.
Wow. Do you have any unreleased music of like Nas and Amy maybe together or anything like that?
Not really. You know, most of the songs, what I tried to do with the Lioness album was that 2012 was a heavy year, but 2011, but I tried to leave it in 2011. I tried to say, this is all the songs we got. Let's put it together. Don't come asking me for songs every 2 weeks now. Let's just go ahead and do it. So we actually worked on Cherry Wine and the one that's on Lioness album. I can't remember. I never wanted you to be my man. Not to be. I can't remember the title right now. But we worked on both of them at the same time. And then one went on Nas's album, one went on Amy's album. That's how it ended up working out. But that was that. And then, you know, Found My Love that I did last year. That was really just, you know, her playing guitar and singing, you know, kind of doing ad-libs with no real lyrics. You know?
Right. Now, I promise people this was meant to be like a 10-minute hookup. I ain't even fronting, but when two music men link up together. So last year, and I promise you, what I'm about to do, this is not a setup. Because just like, I'm sure you got thousands of records in your studio. That's like, I've got thousands of records in my studio. This is not a setup. You made me look for this last year, and it hasn't left this place just as yet. It hasn't. It has. I promise you. Look, the vinyl's not even in there because I know I had to rip the song to be able to play it on the radio.
Wow.
That's why that album cover is literally sitting behind me. Look, like the dog is battered. Like, that's what you call a classic rotted album. Chat to me nice. This get rinsed out enough dance, party, every place. Cabin Stabbing, Supercat Nicodemus, and Junior Demus. The first song on there is Cabin Stabbing. The reason why I had to draw for this is because last year we hooked up for the first time when you shouted me and said, Shawnee, I got some music. And you sent me the Akon record on the Cabin Stabbing rhythm. And I couldn't go on the radio and just play that dry like that. Are you mad? Man, I had to show their depth out here and say, listen to me. That's where this record come from. Cabin Stabbing. You drew for one of the most classic Supercat Cabin Stabbing. Cause this are Cabin Stabbing. Yo, don't play. Don't play. Why did you go for that rhythm for Akon? And now we are here in 2020 push things like with Supercat. Tell me why you went there.
So what ultimately happened was that I was sitting in the room where I'm sitting now, and I got a call from Omar from Rock Nation and saying that they was working on this Rihanna reggae album. I was like, yeah, okay. He's like, yo, but I'm from the Bronx. And, you know, they got some stuff but I need that beat down wall, that thing that, you know what I'm saying? That thing that we felt in the 90s. You hear it and it's like, boop, boop, like it's that thing. So I was like, oh, you want that other dance hall, like that real? I was like, all right, I got you. So we set up a writing camp. I was like, just fly in who you want to, which is Rock City and Tarantula, everybody. And I was like, cool, I'm going to come in and I'm going to line it up. So I go and I pull out my SP1200 and I pull out my little Wicked and all my little keyboards that were the original Mafia and Flux and Steely and Creevy, everybody keyboards I was dealing with. Jazzwad, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody.
I was waiting for you to big up Jazzwad. Don't do that. He would call me, you know. Me and Jazzwad went to school. He would call me. I was like, why you never chat about me, star?
Exactly. So Jazzwad, you know, like everybody, like I was around during them times, but I had all the sounds too. Because when they send me a tape, the remix, trust me, every sound is lift up. I put them back in the SP, but not rip up like to loop it. I put all the sounds back in. So I got SP1200 discs the same way they had with everything in it, right? So I was like, all right, cool. So I pull it up, I take it and put it all in Ableton 96K, big crispy sound. And I was just vibing, coming up with different things. That's where Thirsty Rhythm came from. The song Thirsty was actually written for the Rihanna energy. And then I came up with it, and Rock City really wrote the song. Rock City and Tarantula wrote the same one-time song for Rihanna, but she never ended up using it. And I was just like, yo, on a loop. So then I seen Akon on the plane. I'm like, yo, Con, what's up? I got this song. Check it out. He listened. He's like, say no more. He came to my house. They played one time. He's like, yo, play it again for me from in the booth. He listened to the song and cut it. Half an hour, done. Con don't play. He got it done. So that's why the song ended up touching road in the first place. But then everybody, man, is like, yo, voice on the rhythm, voice on the rhythm. I say, nah, man, I can't voice on the rhythm. I have to talk to Dada first and see what Dada want to do, because I'm not just making any and every man. You know, we cleared the sample and he got a piece of the publishing for the Akon tune, but I was like, yo, Dada, what you want to do? So he said, let me see what I go on first. Let me just go to studio, because a long time I'm going to go to studio, you know, Salaam. And then take time, go eat some food, go talk. And then he took his time writing something. And like I said, that's where it ended up back with Supercat on the rhythm, because I can't voice everybody else on the rhythm and don't voice Dada first. His thing is his timing. That's a respect due, you know, a respect due. And also I knew how great it would be to get him back outside doing it, but he ain't gonna want voice back on the rhythm here, any and everybody. You know, they're exclusive producers. You never hear a whole heap of people on Cabin Stabbing in the first place. Don't move so.
How was it working with Supercat again in this like late stage of his career, so to put it?
It's interesting, but it still comes back down to the reasoning. You know what I'm saying? Like, if he's not comfortable with the reasoning and who he's talking to or what he's hearing, you know, so he's like, yo, that's Cabin Stabbing. All right, cool. Well, boy, I got a vibe. All right, I'm going to try something. And then, you know, it was there, and then he went back a couple times and changed how he wanted to do it. But also he was affected just like I was, because we were doing this now during the quarantine, you know, and everybody's inside, they going through all types of stuff. And then, you know, he's in New York. I'm on FaceTime watching back and forth, like, all right, cool. You want to take it again? You know, so I'm talking to an engineer that's like, what's going on here? He don't even understand the magnitude. He just push and record. And then, you know, even after the George Floyd thing happened, he recorded that week and he's like, yo, me see the people on my right. You know what? I always stand with the people first. So I'll put in some things and move on that second verse there. Make sure we say some things for the people, because we have to stand with the people, always with the people. So that's really where it came down to. And I was happy to be able to get that done. And the same thing with the video. I was like, yo, I got an idea. We can do it like this. He's like, you sure? We're not going to have 2 more meetings. And I was like, don't worry, I got it. You know what I'm saying? But just to get it done, honestly, I'm still looking back like that just happened.
Why not?
Because it ain't happened in a long time. And most of all, it feels good. You know what I'm saying? He tell me, yo, you have to put 2 more phrase melody. Yo, you play the phrase at the end of the song. And, you know, he's still producing it with me and telling me what and have to go on, because it's not like he's just a man that show up in the studio and take rhythm and take talk. Dandada don't take talk.
Yo, on that record, yeah, his flow is different as well, bruv. Like, he's got a different flow going on. Like, it's like he wants to reinvent dancehall again. He's like, he's missing a bar, but then he's putting an extra bar in there, and then it's a continuous thing. That must be hard for you as a producer, knowing that, yo, you know, say you're formulating your thing to like 4/4s and all the rest of it.
I tried to move it around, and the reality was, yo, my fling word, don't move my Words. He's like, all right, now that's it. My bad.
We said certain artists, you gift up, but certain artists, you just have to just wall your corners.
I work with it because ultimately, certain things that he's saying, I ain't even pick it up the way how he said it. You know what I'm saying? The man said, Giuseppe, one of one. Giuseppe, one of one. You know what I'm saying? I and I most high make I. Giuseppe, one of one, I. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, oh, Giuseppe makes one on one, I and I made eyes. But like I say, he said most things where I say it on my songs over the years, nobody understand until I do it. And then when I do it,
how does he pull off rocking an umbrella in the video in an all-white suit, fam? Because is it an umbrella that he's got in his hand?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
How do you do that? That could never have been a prop. That could have never been a designer. That could have that's cat.
And if you look at certain scenes where he's standing with little seeds, he got it in his waist. So go figure. I don't know what kind of umbrella. I never look on it fully, but you know, if I don't know, they was in the hood. They was in Hollis, Queens. They was in Bed-Stuy. It was on certain corner. It's like, all right, cool. So you want to call it the umbrella? Call it that.
Cool. But what I love about that video, Salaam, is just the raw, authentic nature of why I'm sure you love this music, why I love this music, why everybody loves this music. Kat is a yard man in that video. Full white, bell-foot pants. Like, if they don't know what bell-foot pants is, that's flares. You get what I'm saying? Wide foot pants. And him have a stance where it's a yard man thing from like the 80s where as a youth growing up, you be scared of that stance. Like, but now it's the culture that we know, we love, what the world loves. It's that original Heineken Dragon Stout, Clark's booty, shirt button up to the top with little flare at the bottom, speng like. That's what I got from that video.
That's him. And to be honest, all I said was, yo, make we do full white. Or like Night and White with me and Nicodemus and Burabanton on YouTube. Exactly. Let's do that full white. We'll get a full white that and boom.
Is that the Stone Love dance when it was on the stage?
Stereo Mars. Stereo
okay.
Mars. Yeah, Stereo Mars in I think it might have been Skateland.
Right.
You know, so that's online. And actually, there's a little piece of it in the video with Nicodemus there.
Right.
But when it comes down to it, I was like, that was my vision. Do that, boom, pull out white rolls, and then this man put a white horse because right now pale horse business are going. I don't know about you in that horse, but all right, you know what I'm saying. See what's what. But you know, once again, it's article. It's in the right places, you know. And then his thing was when they say some great friend of mine, boom, make we go. Don't put in the dead thing. Let's put Jam Master Jay. Let's put Biggie. Let's put Tennessee. Let's put Nicodemus. Yeah, them thing never represent. So that's why, you know, that's why we are at those places. We're in Bed-Stuy with the Biggie mural. We're in Hollis, Queens with Jam Master Jay. And then I'm have two corner in that area there where no man I'm on for Step Cross, Zebby Corner, and you know what I'm saying? Yo, go with Zebby Dread with some Roots Juice. Yeah, go over there, sir. My place. I have to let the Don go where the Don want to go. But at the end of the day, it's respect. It's respect down to culture. And like I said, you know, nothing to take away what anyone does. Because I'm happy for everybody that makes music and eat food from it and feed them family and go and do what's what. I'm just doing what I know, you know, because look, we're representing something that happened 30 years ago. Cool. That means 30 years from now, somebody might remember this day. Cool. That means that the moment lasted 60 years instead of 30. You know what I'm saying? And that's the beauty of music. And when the music hits you, you feel no pain.
So before I let you go, because I've had you here for a moment, and it was only meant to be for 10 minutes, so I say blessings for the time.
So good.
As a man that's recorded in the US, as a man that's recorded in the yard, as a man that's recorded in the UK, and I'm sure you've probably recorded in so many different regions. I have to put you on the spot. Let's take the yard out of it, though. Let's just take the yard out of this. Who rides the dancehall rhythm the best?
Artists or with people?
Regions. Who's got the flavor of yard outside of yard? Don't be biased now, Salaam. God, don't say you're New York fam, even though you're in Miami right now.
The
But
thing
you're
is,
but
funny,
you're
so,
you don't even know you're an island boy like myself. Come
right,
on
right.
now, who's got the
I
flavor?
mean, it's funny because I had spent the time, and the first thing that came to my mind when you said UK just now is it was a time when me and Glamour Kid was doing whole heap of work. You know what I'm saying? So big up Glamour Kid. But when he was, I'm thinking about linking the big
Big
thing.
thing.
The big thing. My gun saying with it. And Glamour used to call me sometimes like, yo, Salaam, what's up? I'm in Miami. I'm at the hotel by the airport. You got any time? And I'll be like, yo, big man, how you reach Miami and at the airport? Like, yo, where you come from? How you just get there all of a sudden? But Glamour was definitely somebody that did stuff. But I mean, the reality is that most of the vocals that I recorded were actually in New York. I recorded Patra, Shaba, Cat, a lot of stuff in New York. I grew up in New York dancehall culture. You know what I'm saying? Whether it was Rayvon or Shaggy or Baja Jed, Mr.
Red
Eve.
Fox.
You know what I'm saying? Fox, Screechy. Enough of them. So I'm going to say that for me, because even with Sean Paul and Red, enough people, we were working in New York from morning. So I'm going to say what I know. I was voicing mostly yard artists in New York from time. But there were Jamaican artists from Jamaica, but we were in New York and I was getting the work done. So that I have to say what I know the best. You know what I'm saying? And I was making it happen in New York. Because once again, New York, Jamaican culture is a part of New York culture. If you're in New York, chances are you had a beef patty and rice and peas before.
Let me correct you. Jamaican culture is part of the world's culture. That little rock is I always say this. Somewhere in the world, you'll hear someone say, Wagwan.
Exactly.
And that's what Jamaica has brought to the world.
Across the board. You know what I'm saying? From here to food to music for sure. You will hear Bob Marley anywhere you go on the planet. 100. You will hear a piece of dancehall anywhere you go on the planet. And once again, that's to be appreciated because there was so much done with smaller resources than enough places. The sonic, you know what I'm saying? Like when I was working on Spragga Shot the Culture album, I called scientists, I want you to mix some song. And let me sit down and listen. Where you coming from? How you get King Tubby reverb? It was like, what you doing? But at the end of the day, the lessons that I got from all of these people as far as how they were building TVs and made it into a sound system box and putting tweeters and even now when I say you go to an arena and you see a big speaker stack and it's engineered a certain way, that's sound system culture there. 100. That's Jamaica culture right there that was building sound systems so that the bass had to hit you a certain way and the tweeter had to hit you a different way and pulled all the way across. Maybe it was happening in other places, but they made it right. They got that thing right. So where you're looking for them speaker stacks to sound a certain way.
Mad. Salaam, Remi, I salute you. You do it for the culture and you do it so well. And I say thank you very much, my brother.
Thank you for having me. And we'll link up. There's more tune to come because trust me, my unreleased box is full. So I'm putting out new songs. I got songs almost everybody from the 90s. I've been playing them.
Don't invite me to say that. Don't invite me which part you are in that. Trust me, you'll have to call the police on me, fam. Once Dotty Rona lift up, I will be there. I'm there. We're going to link up here, Salaam. Blessings every time,
right.
Maji.
Give thanks.